You're listening to Glove Up or Shut Up on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
We didn't make a prediction on Dodson and Johnson, so I'm going to go ahead and say Demetrius Johnson retains the title because as hard as John Dodson hits, and he's probably one of the hardest hitting flyweights in the entire division, that speed factor for Johnson, it worked to his advantage the first time, and I don't see that these two guys have changed that much since the last fight. Just don't count anything out with John Dodson. I'm not saying that Johnson's going to lose. I'm picking him to win too, but as the betting parlance goes, I would call Dodson a live dog in this fight.
Absolutely. And, champions can get caught. Just ask Anderson Silva.
Absolutely. Now, I did say we had something to talk about with Rumble Johnson later, and there is going to be a protest at the MGM Grand Garden Arena on Saturday.
Oh, no.
Yes, there are some people who are really upset that Rumble Johnson has apparently gotten off the hook a couple of times for, what shall we say?
Indiscretions?
Indiscretions, yeah. That might be a polite way to put it. And they want him called on the carpet, and they want UFC to punish him, and they don't think enough has been done. So there's going to be picket signs and protesters. They're not going to stop anybody from attending the fight. That, especially when you pay UFC ticket prices in Las Vegas, you're paying like $400,000 or $500,000. Even the nosebleed seats are like $100 to $250. So you're not turning anybody away that paid that kind of money for a ticket.
No. And it's going to be a shame because I can see where the protesters are coming from, but.
No pun intended, Peter, but they really need to pick their fight.
Oh, wow. Oh. Good one.
Yeah, there's a better time and place to make your protest than at the actual fights itself. They could do it in a more constructive way.
Why don't you just have a press conference next to the weigh-ins?
That would work, or you could show up at the Athletic Commission hearing and register a formal complaint there. That would be more effective.
Oh, yeah, make those hearings more entertaining. Good job.
Well, anyway, we do have some other fights to talk about on this card, so let me get your pick between Johnson and Manawa real quick.
I think Johnson's going to want to make a statement after his last fight, and Manawa, it's going to be a really tough task for him to be a pissed off Johnson. I'm going to go with Johnson on this one.
I like Jimmy Manawa a lot, but he's in over his head on this one. A win over Jan Blachowicz does not give you the preparation you need to face the hard-hitting power of Rumble Johnson.
Yeah, he might get knocked out. He's not careful.
And we've seen what a guy at Rumble Johnson's caliber can do to Manawa because we saw Alexander Gustafsson knock him out with knees and punches. So, when you're getting to that upper echelon of the light heavyweight division, the guys like Gustafsson, Cormier, Jones, and Rumble Johnson, those guys are going to be in the mix with each other for a while, and anybody else who tries to get in that mix is probably going to have a bad night.
Later on line one.
Indeed. So, speaking of Jan Blachowicz, he is also on this card. He's fighting Corey Anderson. What are your thoughts on that one, Peter?
Corey Anderson, really?
Yep, Corey Anderson is on this card.
Is Anderson the underdog? I might lean towards him just maybe as an upset. I don't know.
You feel like that fight he had
matchup.
You feel that Gian Vellante fight he had was kind of a fluke then? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe. I mean, it's a small sample size. Like, this next fight will definitely prove if I was a fluke or not.
All right. Well, since you asked what the odds are, let me just run down the lines for the cards we've already talked about. Demetrius Johnson is minus 550 against Dodson. That seems too big of a favorite for me. That's why
I could see 550.
Yeah, but that plus 425 on Dodson, man. If I was a betting man, that would be tempting. And and there's a very close line on the heavyweight fight. Arlovsky is minus 155. Mir is plus 135.
Sure.
Johnson is a very heavy favorite, minus 650. Manawa is plus 475.
Doesn't surprise me.
Blachowicz is a small favorite at minus 150. Anderson is plus 130. So you might be onto something with that one.
Slight upset. I mean, if he wins that one, I wonder who you put in front of him next. Like, that would really be interesting if he gets two wins. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the matchmaker, I don't envy his job. It's particularly necessary. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, the thing is, with that win, Corey Anderson would beat a top 15 guy, but by the same token, I don't think that makes him a top 15 guy because,
you said in the past you'd be a top 15 guy. You were in the top 15.
Normally I do say that, but considering his last loss was to Gian Vellante, who is also a top 15 guy, that's where I'm going to draw my line in the sand and say there's not consistency there, because if you win to a top 15 guy and you lose to a top 15 guy, it's kind of a wash.
As I said, his next fight. Okay, so who's 15 right now?
Who is number 15 right now at light heavyweight? That would be Ilir Latifi.
Ooh, that'd be a good fight for him.
Yeah, you know what? If he beats Blachowicz and he beats somebody else that's around that range, like Maldonado or Latifi, you give him 2 wins in a row, and then I'd say he's a top 15 guy. But we're projecting way far ahead for Corey Anderson. We don't know any of that's going to happen.
Tough test ahead for sure.
Yeah, but
we didn't get your pick for Arlovsky and Mir.
You didn't hear my pick for Arlovsky and Mir?
No.
I'm pretty sure I said I've got Arlovsky in that.
See, I'm going to go with Mir just on a win. Nothing more, nothing less. I just have a funny feeling that Mir is going on top of that one.
All right. Well, for the same reason, I'm going with Blachowicz in the fight with Anderson. I agree the line's close enough to risk it on Anderson, but I'm not going to.
All right, what's next?
That would be Paige Van Zandt and Alex Chambers. And get this, you're gonna whistle when I tell you this line.
Uh-oh.
Paige Van Zandt is a minus 1,450. Yeah.
What is it?
It's plus 950 for Chambers.
And minus what?
Minus 1,450. You know what? I'm serious when I say this. I'm not even kidding right now. If you're in Vegas and you got $20, put it on Alex Chambers, because if that pays off, you're gonna be a happy, happy man.
If you put more than $100 on a plus 950 in that fight, you've got problems. But $20 I could see.
Yeah. I don't know what the lowest amount is you can bet at the casino, because I've never actually placed a bet on a fight, but man, if you could put $5 on it, I'd do it. Just, you never know with plus 950. That's like a racehorse called Old Glue Factory coming in first. That's what they're basically telling you.
Also, you never know, you might have a retirement on a stool, or what did you see in that fight where we torn esophagus? Like,
yeah, you never know. You just never know. She could break her foot and the fight could be waved off and Alex Chambers wins. You never know.
But then again, Paige Van Zandt is Paige Van Zandt. I mean, she's...
Yeah, and Paige Van Zandt is good, but is she minus 1,450 good? That's what we're trying to figure out here.
Okay, so if you're obviously going to go with Van Zandt, do you think it's a first round victory?
That's not necessarily clear from her last 3 fights, because
no, it's not.
She's got a rear naked choke, a TKO, and a unanimous decision. So we've seen everything under the sun, but we haven't seen a lot of first round finishes. And Alex Chambers, we're talking about it like it's a fluke if she wins, but I mean, she has beaten some legitimate fighters. She beat Jody Escobar, who was at one point the number 6 atom weight in the world, and I just interviewed somebody who fought her. So, beating Jody Escobar is a legitimate win. It's a tough win, and she's fought some really good women too, like Alshing Daly and Mika Nagano and Mizuki Inoue. So, don't be looking past Alex Chambers here.
No.
So, as far
as the prelims is the main event.
The main event of the prelims is the one I was just about to talk to you about, because it's Ross, the real deal Pearson versus Paul Felder.
Okay, that's a good fight though.
Yeah. So do you got the Irish Dragon in this one?
I got Felder.
Alright. Let's see what the odds say. Minus 440 for Felder, so you're making the right call according to the sports book.
What's Pearson at?
Pearson is plus 350 on the comeback.
Wow, is there anything else on the prelims that catches your eye?
Well, they have been doing some profile pieces on Jessica Andrade versus Raquel Pennington, so I think they're hoping that one draws in a few casual fans, and the line right now is Andrade at minus 210, and Pennington at plus 175. And that's another one.
Reasonable.
That's another one where if I was a betting man, I'd put a little money on Pennington because I like her chances.
That's reasonable. I could agree with that. And, hopefully this fight's a short fight and they'll bonus it on the pay-per-view.
Could very well be.